Kevin Costner's claims ex Christine Baumgartner is demanding $248,000 a month in child support to partly fund her own plastic surgery as the divorce battle rumbles on. Which to me is like, imagine getting $248,000 a month. What the heck are you going to be spending $248,000 a month? Like, the crazy thing about these like celebrities and like actors and whatnot in terms of like how much money that they're actually making is like the numbers just don't even feel real, right? Like when you look at it, it doesn't feel real because in most places in the States, you could pretty much find a house for that price. Now, it may not be the greatest house depending on your location, but you could get like a three bedroom, two bathroom house for $248,000. So, technically speaking, you could potentially be buying like a home every single month. Like, that's the type of money that like we're talking about. Like, that's insane. Insane amount of money. So Kevin Costner has claimed the $248,000 a month in child support his estranged wife, Christine, is demanding is partly to fund her own plastic surgery expenses. Now, to me, if that is true, you are not doing well mentally speaking. Like, if you are so uncomfortable in your own skin that you are willing to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars a month to get plastic surgery to potentially go like out, not necessarily like death, but like basically like out, where like you're knocked out with chemicals where you could potentially pass away from that. You're probably not doing so well in terms of your mental state because you don't like how you look, you're not content with how you look, and you want to constantly keep changing your appearance because you are not content where you are at, like where you're at in life. And the problem that I've seen with a lot of like ladies specifically who go down this plastic surgery route is that there's usually not a stop. Meaning, if this is true, where she's spending a decent amount of this $248,000 per month on plastic surgery, it will basically never stop. Like, this will constantly keep going on till the day that she passes away. And she could end up eventually getting to the point where she looks like there's like botched concrete golems, right? Like it's like where it just looks disgusting. Like they don't even look human anymore. Like it's pretty crazy. So let's see. So the 49-year-old handbag designer who reportedly blindsided Costner, 68, when she handed him divorce papers, called the requested amount less than the amount needed to maintain the children and their accustomed lifestyle, reported People magazine earlier this month. See, like the thing is, I never really liked the way that child support is like set up. Now there's like a lot of issues with it, but it's like child support shouldn't be to like make sure that the child stays in the same sort of lifestyle that they did. Child support should really only be to just take care of the kid, right? Like pay for the food, pay for their clothing, pay for whatever, like their basic necessities, right? Now, as like a parent, you should want to do more than the child support because you potentially love your kid and you want the best for them, right? But in terms of like child support to like where you got to pay it to like your partner, uh, I've seen so many like situations where the person who gets the child support money like blows all of it, just like completely blows every single dollar that they get from child support. And not only that, I've seen it where there's been many guys who go to jail for not paying their child support, right? Even if they're trying really hard, but some of them end up doing like really dumb things to try to make enough money to pay their child support so that they don't get arrested. Like it's a crazy situation. Like you gotta be like so careful with it. So I just don't really like how the whole child support thing's basically set up. So let's see. The former couple share their three children together: Caden 16, Hayes 14, and Grace 13. Costner also has four adult children from previous relationships. Costner's forensic account now claims in new court documents obtained by TMZ that the expenses listed among the $248,000 include more than $100,000 in cosmetic surgery for Baumgartner, as well as thousands of dollars in boutique shopping, huge ATM withdrawals, and other expenses not to do with child support. So, spending more than $100,000 in like surgery, in plastic surgery, and apparently this is her, right? What are you spending 100 grand on? Like I'm like, are you like just like dosing yourself, like nearly overdosing yourself on like Botox or something? Like, what costs 100 grand in terms of plastic surgery? That is so crazy to me. If you're familiar with like plastic surgery and if you stumble upon this, feel free to give your thoughts on it. But like, what are you spending 100 grand on? Like, what are you doing? That just seems so crazy to me. So crazy to me. So among Christine's listed expenses are credit card bills and her own attorney fees and construction loans. That's kind of weird. Costner's accountant says these are one-time expenses that have nothing to do with child support. Now, the interesting thing from my recollection, it seems that a lot of times, in terms of like, let's say that your wife was getting child support, right? From what I've seen, they pretty much have like nearly any leeway in terms of what is actually spent. Where like they could technically just spend it on like steaks for themselves, right? Like there's like a lot of leeway to it. So I don't know if he's going to necessarily win some sort of argument to be able to say that she can't spend the money that way because she probably would be allowed to. It, it's just like a really weird thing because like child support is such a is in such a bad favor towards the high earners, which is typically the guy. And so Kevin Costner is probably going to keep on having to pay this amount of money, right? Which is the main reason why I wanted to even cover this is because this kind of goes to show you it is extremely important that you marry the right person, right? Because this is one of the most expensive choices that you will ever make potentially, right? Now, if you find the right partner, they could end up basically helping you make a lot of money, help you grow your net worth because you guys are a team. But this is his second time doing this, and he's going to get screwed out of a lot of money. The documents claim Costner has been paying all of the children's expenses and will continue to do so, saying the amount he is currently paying is the reasonable amount, $51,940 a month. Which, to me, right, I hear this number and I'm like, $51,940 a month to take care of your kids. Like, again, like when you see these numbers, when I see these numbers, it feels so like almost fake to me, just because of how insane these numbers actually are. Like we're so like not connected to like normal human beings, these like celebrities, right? So $51,940 per month, right? There's 12 months, right? So we times that. That means, in terms of his children's expenses, he is paying $623,280 a year. That is so crazy to me, right? Because you're basically paying the like double or triple the average doctor's salary to take care of your kids in terms of like their expenses. Like what expenses do they got, right? Like that is, again, like this thing is just so crazy to me seeing this sort of stuff, right? Because like these numbers are just so massive. Like, and also to like put into perspective, right? These kids are probably never going to make the type of money that he's making, right? So the smartest thing for like as like a dad to like really take care of his kids is to basically be like, "Hey guys, my kids that I care about," right? If he actually does. You guys should like live a type of lifestyle within reason, and I will like literally show you how to like be financially set for the rest of your life, because I will put money into like these investment accounts for you instead of paying like this crazy lavish lifestyle that you have right now. I could put money into these investment accounts, and you will literally never have to worry about money, ever have to really think about money basically ever again, if you lived within like some sense of like normalcy, right? To like put into perspective again, right? So compound interest calc, because I just love checking this out. So again, they're doing the, let's see, $51,940 a month. Okay, so initial investment, let's do $51,940 per month. We'll do the same monthly contribution, $51,940 per month. And let's just say we do this for a lengthened time of. Yeah. So, I mean, this child support will basically last for. Hold on. How old are the kids? 16, 14, 13. So, let's see. 2 years, another 4 years. So that's 6 years plus five. Actually, no. What the hell am I thinking? So Caden turns 18 in 2 years, right? Then that'll make Hayes turn 18 after 2 years after that, which will make another year. So in total, basically like hmm, yeah, okay. So basically like what, 5 years? We'll just say of doing this thing. It's like midnight. My brain's hardly thinking. So let's do that for 5 years, right? Estimated interest rate. Let's just do basically the S&P 500. So let's say like 10%. Interest rate variance. Let's do a 1% variance. Yeah, compound frequency annually. Okay. So by doing this, right, and only doing this for 5 years would basically allow them to have 3,800 $3,880,836 $1.62 within a 5 year time span. But let's say that he were to keep putting this amount of money for the kids, right? For like basically their whole adult life as well. Basically until their retirement age, which he could technically do, right? So let's just do like 40 years on top of that. Calculate. So he could technically make it to where his kids are going to basically be guaranteed 278,853.84 if he didn't use this money for their expenses and like used it for their retirement. And the thing is, technically, he shouldn't even have to spend that type of money, period, right? But like, I'm just saying, like, him being a dad to his kids, if he cares about his kids and he wants them to never really have to worry about money again, to me, it makes way more sense to turn these like child expenses to like investments for their future, right? Because I think we've all seen like stories of like super wealthy like individuals or families that have crazy amounts of money where like literally multiple generations the every like descendant quite literally just never worries about money because they basically all get like paychecks every single month for the rest of their lives, right? Think of like royals. Like royals literally get like paychecks like monthly and they just don't even think about it. Like that's crazy to me. But he's in a situation where he could technically do that. So let's continue. So documents from earlier this month show that Costner pulled in just over 19.5 million in 2022, with the family's expenses listed as being 6.6 million for the same year. And the thing is, like to me, I think it's so crazy getting your lifestyle to that point where you're just spending millions of dollars, right? Like to me, even if I was at the point eventually making multiple millions of dollars, it'd be so hard for me to like even remotely justifying in my head to spend multiple millions of dollars. And the family's net worth is put at 7.5 million according to the People Report, which is like dumb. Baumgartner has recently signaled her willingness to leave the mansion they previously shared, but only as long as she has guarantees that her soon to be ex won't leave her penniless. Even though I'm pretty certain that he gave her millions of dollars already. So she has agreed to leave the 145 million mansion on the condition that Costner 68 agrees to pay any support and fees that a judge orders at an upcoming hearing, according to court filings obtained by Radar Online. In the documents, Baumgartner agrees to vacate the premises on August 31st of this year as long as Costner complies with whatever support and fee orders that the court makes on July 12th, the date of the next hearing in their divorce proceedings. That arrangement would give her 50 days to find a new place to live and to move in, whereas the prenuptial agreement reportedly stated that she would leave the original home within 30 days of a divorce filing. And she wrote that she was hesitant to leave her home without having a plan and funding in place, if only for the sake of her children, whom she doesn't want to have to move multiple times. Now, the interesting thing is, I think within the prenup that he had her sign, right, that she was basically guaranteed millions of dollars in that prenup, like millions of dollars, right? And again, like for normal people, right, like millions of dollars would be like, yeah, okay, I'm okay with like getting millions of dollars from a divorce. Yeah, like because of something that like, we're just no longer compatible or whatever. Yeah, okay. Ooh, so bad. Millions of dollars, right? Like only like these super wealthy rich celebrities would be complaining about getting millions of dollars, even in a divorce. And by the way, you sign a prenup. Like, That's just crazy to me. Baumgartner claimed that Kevin wants me to rent a place without a financial plan in place. However, I have our three children to think about. It is contrary to their best interest to commit to rental that I may not be able to afford, particularly as that would ultimately lead to multiple relocations. My goal has been and continues to be maintaining as much stability for our children as possible, which includes having the proper resources and plan in place so that I can establish a stable home for them, rather than making temporary inconsistent housing arrangements, she continued. Costner was not only the primary breadwinner, but the only person making money recently, and Baumgartner says in her filing that she has no income. The Yellowstone Star was on the hook to help his estranged wife relocate per their prenuptial agreement, but it was a relatively paltry sum for their lifestyle. But the thing is, I feel like if she signed a prenup, it shouldn't even matter, right? Even though this is like California and whatnot, if someone signs a prenup, you should have to follow the prenup because that's the point of the prenup. And if she was like literally willing to sign it and agreed to it, how could she get out of it? So Costner would have paid her a reported $1 million to find a new home, but with California's elevated home prices, particularly if she tried to stay near Costner, she may have had difficulty finding something similar to the luxuries she and her children are accustomed to. According to Radar Online, Costner has deposited $1 million in Baumgartner's bank account to get her to move out of his mansion, and he said he had previously given her $200,000 earlier in their marriage in line with their prenuptial agreement. However, Baumgartner isn't touching the money, as she says doing so would rob her of her ability to contest their prenup's validity. See, like, this is the thing that I don't understand, right? So, the guy literally did, like, to the T what his prenup said that he had to do, that she signed, but, like, how can she contest this? Like, I don't understand this. Like, how can you contest the validity of this prenup? Like, unless you can pretty much prove that he forced you to do it out of like threatening you or something, I don't really know how she could get out of it. Because again, this is a legal document that she agreed to sign. So, how do you get out of that if you willingly signed it? She has also said that the couple have had no problems on days where Costner was staying at the home, and she says the mansion size and disconnected living spaces mean they can live together without interacting. Which, by the way, is like the whole like net worth thing doesn't seem right to me at all because the house that he lives in is 145 million, unless it's completely loaned out. So Costner's legal team previously said in court filings that Kevin has acted in good faith and has done everything in his power to make the transition as seamless as possible, according to Insider. Like, to me, I feel like if I was at the age that Costner is, which is 68, and I was like dealing with all this sort of stuff, I'd be like, you know, I ain't going to even settle with you. I'm just going to have like the lawyers deal with you because of this nonsense and just be done with it, right? Like, not even like interact with the court system basically at all and just have lawyers deal with it because I'd just be like so done with practically everything. Like, can you imagine being like 68 years old and like having to deal with a divorce? You're like, ugh. Which again, this is why I wanted to talk about this, is because who you marry is a very, very big financial decision. Now, he was smart that he did a prenup, but who knows? I mean, again, this is in like California. So he's been represented by the famous divorce attorney, Laura Wasser, who reportedly served as an inspiration for Laura Dern's lawyer character in Noah Baumbach's critically acclaimed film Marriage Story, which earned Dern an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. It was previously reported that Baumgartner is seeking $248,000 per month in child support payments. Ba, 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 ba. However, Costner has said in other filings that he believes he should only pay around $38,000 per month. And again, to me, it's like, even at $38,000 per month, like, to me, it's like, are you just shoveling gold down these kids' throats? Like, what the hell is going on? Like, that's not a small amount of money, right? For like normal human beings, right? That's a good amount of money. $38,000 per month. Jesus Christ. So earlier this week, the Sun reported that Costner was blindsided. The Water Road actor sat his family down, told them he and their mom were getting a divorce, and his lawyer was getting the paperwork drawn up, a source claimed to the publication. He wanted everything to be peaceful for the sake of his kids and told Christine he didn't want a messy divorce because he'd already been through one, they continued. But first thing, the next morning, boom, Christine sneak attacks him and serves him with her own set of divorce papers. Kevin was so shocked, the source added, Christine has since made him look terrible and has continued to do so. However, Baumgartner has previously shared a different, less flattering version of how their children learned of their impending divorce. In a court filing obtained earlier this month by People, she claimed that Costner told the three children about the divorce via Zoom chat while he was in Las Vegas filming on location. The handbag designer added that she was not present during the Zoom call, and she noted that she was puzzled about why the children had to be told in that way, as Costner would be returning home in a matter of days. I am still confused by his motivation to do this via a very short Zoom session, especially since he was planning on being home 5 days later, she wrote. Okay, let's check some of these comments. If 50K a month plus kids' expenses paid by Costner isn't enough for her, there is something wrong with her. Like, it's crazy amounts of money. Let's see. Wada is obviously wants that money mostly for herself. Nobody needs $8,300 a day to raise three kids, especially considering Kevin will most likely still be paying for most of their expenses out of his own pocket separate from this. There was probably something in the prenup about no or minimal alimony if she filed first, so she's going for this obscene child support amount. Plus, she still wants to live in the huge mansion and have him continue to pay the expenses associated with that. She wants the exact same lifestyle without Kevin being around, probably so that she can move on with a younger man and still be super rich without working herself. What a piece of work. Like, see, the thing is, this is what's crazy to me, right? She wants 268,000 dollars, right? What was it? Yeah, $248,000 a month in child support, right? But think about it. The guy's already paying over 50K a month for kids' expenses to cover his kids' expenses, which has nothing to do with child support, right? Straight up. They like mentioned it in the article that $50,000 that he's paying is him just paying for his kids' expenses, right? Not paying child support. So that is not part of the child support because he's already covering the kids' expenses, right? So it's just crazy to me. It's like she's basically like trying to request massive amounts of child support way above the kids' expenses that he's already paying for that isn't child support so that she could pretty much live like nearly a billionaire's lifestyle, which is crazy. So entitled, some families live with $50,000 or less for a whole year. There's some people living like on poverty. Like like think about that, right? And yet she can't handle less than $248,000. That's just crazy to me. She signed a hardcore prenup because she wanted badly to get married to him and was ready to sign anything. Now she uses the kiss to justify her greed to wanting more. As he said, he will pay anything that has to do for the kids, so she filed for divorce. She should have think of that before. So after 20 years of being married to a very famous Hollywood guy with a substantial income, she has to resort to a legal dispute to void a contract she willingly signed, using her kids as leverage in order to earn money. No wonder her businesses failed. Girl, you can have all the plastic surgery in the world, but that will never fix the ugly that is inside you. I actually really like this comment because that's the thing about this whole like plastic surgery type of stuff. It's like it really doesn't matter how much you spend, how much you do to the outside, you're still stuck on the inside, you know? There's no way it costs $250,000 a month to sustain three teenagers a month. It is inevitable the majority of that money would be spent on her lifestyle, which like is the whole purpose of this whole thing. It's just to me, it's like, what are you spending this money on? Like we saw the like $100,000 like bill whatever for like plastic surgery. It's like again, what did you get done? How often does that happen? It's like now I mentioned that you can pretty much buy like a home pretty much every month depending on the state, right? But you could also buy like a brand new Lamborghini every single month for the rest of your life. Like, it's just stupid amounts of money. Smart man had the prenup signed because you know what happens. Now she has the nerve to look for a way to void the legal agreement she legally signed. This speaks volumes about the missus, and he is better off without her. Let's see. That family's net worth is not 7.5 million. Yeah, I don't know why they put that there. Again, unless unless he's basically like super like leveraged on his homes, right? That's the only like thing that I can understand them putting that 7.5 million net worth, which is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that until he gets those homes actually sold, his net worth isn't going to be that high, is what I'm assuming. Interesting. I just thought that this was kind of like an interesting thing because, like, to me, it's just like it's just so much money. Like this whole thing is just so much money. But again, the main point that I really wanted to get through this is that marriage is a really big decision and you need to be very careful with who you marry, right? Don't try to rush into it. Be very careful and like have like very open discussions and like here's the thing. When it comes to like prenups in terms of like being like financially protected, the way to view prenups is this. If you are marrying someone and you are basically both starting at like zero or negative net worth, there's really no point for a prenup because you guys are not taking anything into the relationship, like the marriage, where one is like basically, you know, far superior in terms of their net worth, right? Like, for example, let's put it this way: you have two people, you want to get married, right? One person has $100,000 in student loan debt, another person has $5 million in their bank account, right? That is a situation where you should have a prenup because obviously that is pretty sketchy and could potentially lead to really bad things, not to mention also protecting you from crazy family members, right? Like it's just like a safety thing and a common sense thing. Now, let's say that you want to get married, and basically is a situation where you both are at 0 0 in terms of what's inside your bank account or how much money you could get access to. Well, in that situation, not much point to get a prenup because you ain't protecting anything, right? Now, a situation where you might get a prenup, even though you don't necessarily have money to your name, is let's say that you were in a situation where even though you do not have money currently, you do know that maybe at a certain point you're going to get like a massive inheritance. Or that you know that your family has like money hidden away for you or something along those lines, right? Where you will get access to money at some point. Or like let's say that you won the lottery like a week ago, but you haven't collected like you won't collect the winnings for like a month, but you want to get married beforehand. It's like something crazy, right? In that situation, yeah, get a prenup. In those situations, get a prenup, right? Because it's just like a really weird situation, but it also protects the wishes of the people or how it was that you got the money, right? Like if your grandparent passed away and left you like a $5 million inheritance, yeah, you want to protect that, right? So it's just something to really think about. Now, also another situation that might be the case is like, let's say that maybe you guys both are kind of like equal in terms of like what you got in the bank. But let's say that one person is making like $1 million a year in terms of like income, and the other person is nowhere near that, right? But you guys both basically have the same amount of money in the bank account. I would potentially get a prenup in that situation, but not in terms of like completely protecting the person who has like the high earning career. I'd probably put it in a way where I'd basically have like a guarantee of some sort of amount for the person making less money, right? Just in case something were to happen that the person that's basically making nothing could end up basically being protected in terms of like they will get something eventually, right? Because the person making a large amount of income in that situation is just basically like a moron with their money, right? So just something to think about. That's the way that I basically view prenups and whatnot. It's just like you gotta be so careful with this sort of stuff because you don't want to have multiple marriages.